Hey, what's up? I'm Guy.
I'm John.
It's our YouTube channel. Subscribe to it. Give this video a like. We appreciate it.
Podcast below in the description. Go check it out and do it now.
Sponsor wineaccess.com/ham, 20% off. Satisfaction guaranteed.
Yep. Wineaccess.com/ham. Go send your significant other, your wife, your girlfriend, your dad, your mom, your brother, your cousin, your friends a bottle. Wineaccess.com, 20% off. Doesn't get any better, Guy.
Send love and maybe send them a link to this video. John, the best division in football, we talked about it for a long time, we believe is the NFC West. And it's only, I don't know if it got better, time will tell, but it definitely has gotten a little more exciting. Weapons have been added so far in this draft to the division.
I think the only division that could make the claim would be the AFC North. But the problem is the Bengals stink. You know, they got four teams that if they made the playoffs, I mean, most people are going to pick either the Niners, Seattle, the Rams, probably two of the three of them to like make the playoffs, but all four have the talent to. And I don't think any other division can say that. Now, we knew that going into last year, so I don't know what has totally changed, right? We viewed it coming into the season. It's a big boy division. You watch these teams play. Seattle, the Rams made the playoffs. If the Cardinals don't shit the bed to the Niners when they kick their ass in Arizona, they make the playoffs. I mean, they were in the driver's seat to be the wild card until they fell apart at the end of the season. The NFC West should have got three teams in. Kyle just had other plans with Nick Mullins, so they missed. But I'm with you. I think they've gotten better. I mean, obviously, the Rams are better, right? Their quarterback is better. Seattle had a really good offseason. Right? They added Gabe Jackson is a starting player. Boom, add. They got rid of an offensive coordinator who I think, Schottenheimer kind of got a raw deal in the sense of like Russell had his best couple years production last couple years, but Pete wants to be more balanced. They go to Rams. They hire their offensive coordinator. So what does that mean? They're basically running Shanahan's scheme. And then Arizona just always has a lot of good players.
One other thing on Seattle, John. I mean, they had success. They've had success, and the Niners have had success with their players. They had success with DJ Reed. They added Akello, but they also added Kerry Hyder.
Kerry Hyder had a really good season.
Khalil Hyder.
Yeah.
So anyway, keep going.
So I think Seattle is just going to be better because the one thing we watched them last year, it felt like they were an NBA team. Like I'll give the Rams credit. They felt more when you watched them like a well-balanced team, despite being very top-heavy. Seattle was very dependent on like four guys.
Yeah.
Jamal had to make every play. Russell had to make every play. DK had to make every play. When they didn't, you're like, God, what's going on
Wagner.
here? Yeah, and so I just think they added more. Just Kerry Hyder, if he's your 15th, 20th best player, like they would have died to have Kerry Hyder last year. And to Arizona, like they're not a fun team to play. And I don't believe in their coach, but I do know this. When you and I and millions of other people watch, especially on the West Coast, we just watch a lot of Rams play the Cardinals or the Cardinals play Seattle. And some of those games now are on Sunday night, Monday Night Football. They're always a bloodbath. Like Arizona, same with playing the Niners, they do play within the division very well, right? They could easily win 4 games in the division. Like they're not intimidated by the division opponents.
Yeah, I mean,
they're just more likely to lose to the Jets or something, right?
Absolutely. You think their ceiling is low, but their floor is pretty high. And I think and obviously the Niners last year were not good, but that's part of the reason why we think this division is the best. Is just when you look at whoever you think the worst team in any division is. Now, if Aaron Rodgers ends up on the Broncos, the AFC West becomes pretty special, right? If he ends up on the Raiders, it makes the Raiders better. It doesn't really change the depth of the division based on Denver. The worst teams in all these divisions, I think, are worse than the worst team in the NFC West. And we know specifically from a Niners standpoint, they like everybody, it's why you're looking for it, struggle with these mobile quarterbacks. Goff is out of the division. So it's one thing that you add Stafford, but Goff was the Niners' favorite player to play, I think, in the league, was Jared Goff. So that hurts. And then they've all added speed. I talked about
Come back.
I talked about play the Lions twice. But I talked about get ready Vikings. I talked about this in the Trey Sermon video. Rondale Moore, 4.3140. That's who Arizona drafted in the second round. Dwayne Eskridge from Western Michigan, 4.3940. That's who Seattle added. Tutu Atwell from Louisville, 4.3540. That's who the Rams added. Like all those guys got drafted in an 8-pick range. And, right now the Niners, I would imagine, like this is part of the to-do list if you're on the defensive staff, is These guys are there for a specific reason, to do specific things. So, yeah, I think it got more I mean, it was already competitive, but I just think it got more difficult this weekend.
I don't know if either one of these guys, I would bet against both of these guys not having a huge impact, but we've seen it historically. A guy like this can just have one more good season before their career ends. AJ Green's on the Cardinals and Deshaun Jackson's on the Rams. Now, again, like I said, I would bet against both, maybe having a game or two, but not having great seasons. But would it totally shock you if one of them has just a renaissance season if they can stay healthy? They are, I mean, both those two guys have had, long stretches in their career where they were some of the best players, right? Yeah. Those two players at their position. AJ's huge, and Deshaun has an elite attribute. So, like, you just never – J.J. Watt's with the Cardinals. Like, we just have a lot of added high-end veteran talent that if just two of the three of them play well, if it's Deshaun and J.J. have big seasons, that's an added element that just did not exist last year for both those two teams, right?
Right, and remember the Niners were the last-place team in the division last year.
Yes.
Their quarterback, Jimmy Garoppolo, we don't know if he'll be the starter. We don't know if he'll be healthy. We like the Trey Lance pick a lot, but
if Jimmy's starting, the Niners have the worst starting quarterback in the division?
Yes. But and I would just say even without that we know the biggest question mark among the quarterbacks in the division is the 49ers quarterback. So they have the biggest question mark at the most significant position. They finished last place in the division last year. So, yeah, it's – and, again, these teams, I think now Cliff will see, but specifically the Rams, like when the Rams add a guy on offense, you go, okay, if that guy has a chance, he's got a chance there, right? Just like when the Niners do. We got to give Sean McVay that same benefit because he's earned it.
You think are the Rams – Seattle won the division last year, but is it fair to say right now the Rams are the team to beat, or would you still lean Seattle? They've gotten better. They didn't Russell, it feels like they've simmered that.
Yeah, I mean, they've got the best quarterback in the division, right?
Yeah.
They've done it. They do have it is, maybe it's nothing. Their situation is not ideal with Russell, though. I mean, we could say that.
One area that I think really impacted them in Corona were no fans. Like, that is a big element to their squad. Like, that's a tough place to play.
And they still went 7-1 at home.
And they lost a home playoff game. Like, the one thing I would say, they might have some like, it might not be the peak of 14-13 during the regular season. Their playoff game would be ape shit. Like, that playing in front of no one against the Rams is a pretty big disadvantage for Seattle. Sure. Right? Sure. Like, they would have, so.
But Seattle went out of, but the Rams went out of their way to start their backup quarterback last year in the postseason. And they won 10. I'm just saying they won 10 games with a quarterback situation they didn't like.
Yeah.
This is all. This is all reasons that we're agreeing with ourselves that it's going to be really hard.
Just to end on this, like, one thing we don't know, and I think we would probably all lean that it's not going to be too crazy, is what do the Rams home games feel like? Is it just kind of like chilling, or is it?
I bet it's not. I bet it's good.
Yeah. It's huge, right? It's a massive.
Stadium's
like
cool. People have a reason to come check it out.
Yeah,
and they're cool.
Yeah, they are fun.
So
it'll be packed.